Hey, good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. I thought I'd do that since it's Christmas Eve here, and it's one more day before Christmas, so I guess I won't be doing all the Christmas toys. However, though, day after Christmas is a great day to go to CVS and all those stores and buy these little guys on super discount, as we talked about. I should say that what the show is, right? This is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. You're probably like, what the heck are you watching? So 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. This is episode 155, and it is 5:35 in the morning, so we're up a little earlier. And I'm Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and we talk about Agile and Scrum in a tactical and practical way. And we do it so you get home to your family and friends, have some fun, and enjoy your life, and have a good work-life balance, and make some money for the customer. Well, make your customer happy, make money for your business, and then also, so you go home to your family and friends, and not work 80 million hours to achieve what needs to be done, and have a little fun along the way. And this little guy is a little fun. We've been talking about this week, if you have problems with your daily Scrum, or you just want to mess it up, even if your Scrum is going good, you can say, okay, we're going to put a timer on, pull one of these guys out and do a timer with your team. It's like, oh, here's your timer. Yeah, whatever time it takes. And you listen to that thing, you're like, that's a long time. It's probably about 30 seconds, right? So it's not really that long. Everybody thinks they need more time, but you really don't. I mean, think of it this way. I'm kind of going into you're really only going to be doing like 1 or 2, max 3 tasks a day. I see a lot of people just don't even do that, because we talked about the metric that I put on a lot of teams that, if you have a task that hasn't been updated in more than 2 days, it flags it, right? And I put that on all my boards no matter where I go. So that this tells you there's a lot of people out there. I wouldn't create a metric like that if it wasn't needed. If everything was in a day, I wouldn't need the metric. But daily Scrum, I mean, what are you going to talk about, right? Kind of talking about a topic. Now we're going into this one. I wasn't planning, but I'm going to go into it. So we talk about it. So we say 30 seconds. And Greg's like, Greg, you're crazy. What do you need 30 seconds for? That's not enough time to talk. And I'm like, well, in reality, it is, because if you're only doing like 2 tasks to get done a day, you only have 2 things to talk about. Maybe, okay, so maybe you got a total of 4. Let's say you ideally finish the 2 things from the day before, and you tell everybody, hey, I finished these 2 things. I got them off to Joe Bob or Sally Green or whatever, and they're all working on the stuff I gave them yesterday, and today I'm going to work on these 2 items, XYZ and front end, blah, blah, right? So I'll have them for testing tomorrow or today, or I should have something to testing this afternoon. And then the other thing is daily Scrum. It's Christmas Eve. I'm going home early. I'll work from home. We get home before the traffic, and I got to pick up some stuff, right? Last minute shopping. And so those are the kind of things you say in daily Scrum. It doesn't take you 30 seconds to say that. Nope. Prove me wrong. If you really want to, I'll prove that I'm right. So in reality, it only takes about 30 seconds to go. If you're only doing 4 things, 2 things finished, 2 things in the batting cage, right? So those are the only 2 things. So just think about that. It really doesn't take that long. So you could, so the time and the number of people going around are 2 different things, right? So anyway, so this is talking about play the thing and see how long it takes, and really and explain to your team that, hey, if you're really only doing like 2 things at a time, 2 things a day, it doesn't take more than 30 seconds to talk about that. I mean, unless you get some real major issues. And if you do, you say, hey, I got a major issue. I'd like to talk about it post Scrum, and let's talk. I still think you can get it all done in 15 minutes. So anyway, so this is talking about the time and little guys. Now, remember, you can get these at CVS like this coming week after Christmas. They're going to be all like 50 to 75% off, and they're good ornaments and stuff like that. That's how I get my stuff. That's how I get my Easter stuff. That's how I get my Halloween stuff. I go back and I put it in a box, put it in my basement, and bring it out next year. That's what happens. So that was an unplanned thing I talked about. The thing I'm going to talk about is something that came up yesterday in discussion. Going towards that PI planning group that I was telling you, where I had that one person. We're going to split the teams, but we're going to make people work 50% on one team, 50% on another team. And you don't think about these things until you start really talking about it. So I was talking about with the Scrum Master, and she agrees. It's kind of crazy. I might try to use the whiteboard, but my hand is so messed up right now. I'm broken. I broke my hand. I didn't break my hand. I slept wrong. It screwed up my nerve endings or something. At least that's what my wife says. It hurts. Anyway, so here's an angle I thought about. And if you got an organization that's got people working on multiple teams and they're implementing Scrum, and it really doesn't matter, they're implementing anything. And I just look at the meeting schedule and the way they do this stuff. I'm like, oh my God. If I could just peel away half the meetings they do, which they really don't need to do, it'd be a lot better. But we'll talk about this. So we're going to talk about this, multiple teams and the impact of multiple teams and how you might want to show your bosses or the old waterfall way that you can't apply this multiple team concept to Scrum. And it never really worked with waterfall either, by the way. So Eddie was trying to draw a Pikachu. He had done a really good Pikachu the other day. I mean, it was really good. I was actually impressed. I was going to take a picture of it. Then he dropped it. And you know how the whiteboard stuff is? Yeah, it's smeared everywhere. Poor guy. He was so devastated because it was really nice. I wanted to get a photo of it and put it on the show, but didn't quite get to do that. My hand's so messed up I can't even grip anything. So I'm just going to do a little whiteboard action. Not much, but I'm going to talk about the multiple teams. So on a previous episode, we talked about, if you take all, and I think I did on a whiteboard, take all the Scrum ceremonies and put it on, you end up with I want to say 6.5 hours out of 8, right? 8 hours is like your typical day. 6.5 hours is for coding and stuff like that. So you lose about 1.5 hours. How many days in the sprint, right? Let's say a 2-week sprint. Just make easy math. 10 days times 10 days is what? 10. Wow. Every time I look at the math, I go, oh my God, really? Is that really 15? Yeah, 15 hours. So 15 hours. That's a lot of time. That's 2 days. That's 2 days worth of work. So you don't know where I'm going at. Maybe you do. But okay, I'm on one team. I work about 6.5 hours per day. If you do all the math, it comes out to about 6.5 hours a day for working, coding, testing, whatever, out of 8. 6.5 from 8 is 1.5 hours. Time 10 days in a sprint, right? 2 5-day weeks. Gives you 15 hours total. I think that's a little high. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Let's go with 15 hours. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. What do you all want, right? 15 hours. So if you were to work on 2 teams, how many hours will you be spending in ceremonies? Times 2 gives you 30 hours. That's crazy. Is that right? Yeah, I think it's right. Ooh, God. Ugh. This is 30 hours. So now you have 30 hours in meetings and ceremonies and stuff like that. That doesn't count all your other meetings. And I'm like, so I give you 10 hours to code. That's not good. out of a 80-hour work week, right? Or 30 hours. No. So that's 30 hours out of 80 hours or something like that, right? So that gives you 50 hours. So you basically lost a week. So if you did 3 teams times, let's say you did 3 teams, and instead of, where's my eraser? Yeah, I don't know where I did with the eraser. Here's the eraser. So if I did 3, say, oh, I'm going to go help out 3 teams. Yeah, I'm going to spread them out. I'm going to do 30, 30, 30, or 75, 25 something. So I'm going to do 33. That's 45 hours. You lost the whole week just doing basic ceremonies to figure out what's going on. That's not very productive. And when I see these companies, and it's funny, people walk right into it, right? They walk into it. So I tell them this. It's like, you do realize you're losing like 12 and a half, 15 hours. I think it says 12 and a half. I said 12 and a half, 15 hours to doing the ceremony. So you got a lot of people that are working on 3 teams. I think I figured out why you're hiring all these people and you keep hiring all these people and not getting anything done. Because you hired them and you put the person on 30% on one team, 30% on another team, 30% on another team because you want to spare that resource. Why don't you just say, okay, you work full-time on this team and you work full-time on this team. You can always interact later on and just talk, like if you're a tester, you can talk testing, COP, DevOps thing. You can compare code, you can be part of a group. But I think it was kind of similar to the Spotify model where they had groups that would overlap, and I think they've changed it a few times, so they're not even doing that anymore. But seriously, right? Maybe there's a reason why you're hiring all these people and you don't feel like anything's getting any more done, because you're hiring them and say, you work 50% on this team, 50% on that team. Right there, you just lost 30 hours. I love these people. 30 hours to ceremonies and events. Oh my. Come on, really? Seriously. So I'm surprised no one's really talked about this. I don't think anybody really has. But there's simple math right there. So you spend 6.5 hours you get, so you lose about an hour and a half every day when you take the sprint planning, the refinement sessions, daily scrum, retro, and the review. And you take those items and you apply it across the week. It comes out, you end up with like 6.5 hours a day, which means you lose about 1.5 hours a day for the other things, or somewhere between there. It's like 1.5, 112, something. So with that, right, you lose between 12 and 15 hours a sprint every 2 weeks to that, almost 2 days. That's for one team. So when you do 2 teams, you're close to 30 hours, right? So you don't have much more space. You just lost almost an entire week to just ceremonies and not getting work done, not being productive. So there it gives you more ammunition of just being on one team at a time. Now, Scrum Master can be 2. Product Owner can be 2. But the team has to be in one team, just so they get really in touch with each other and get done. So with that, I want to leave it at that for the show. We almost talked 14 minutes anyhow. We got pretty long. So please like us and subscribe. My hand's so messed up. Oh, man. Ow. Oh, it hurts. So ring the bell. Ring the bell. Get updates. But, think about this. Look at your teams and say, how many people are working on team? I'm actually looking at these data points. Actually, it's even worse. Anyway. But think about it, right? So that's like 2 teams. If they're on 3 teams, you're talking 45 hours. You're definitely talking lost the week on something. And I was looking at the guy's data the other day. He was showing to me, and I'm way off topic, but he was showing to me, and he had like how many available hours per week that people were on his team. Almost everybody on the chart was like 12 hours availability. And I'm like, okay, look, if we per week, right? It was like 12 hours. And I go, you get at least 30 some odd, after you take away the Scrum things, like 1.5, like 1.5 times 5 is right, 5 hours. Right? 5 times 1.5. 7.5 hours. So you lose 7.5 hours. So you should get at least 33 hours, around 30 hours per week per person in the schedule. And he was getting 11 or 12. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, maybe that's just me. And everybody wants to worry about all this stuff. I'm like, right there, right there. 12 hours per week per person on your team. I don't need to fix anything else. I just need to fix that, and I will triple your freaking output. It's just, and everybody wants to analyze this stuff, become Agile accountants. I'm like, that is screaming at you right there. Do you have these people only 11 hours per week on your team? You should be like 30. There should be 3 times more time available for the team from that person on your team. 30 plus. And not 11. Anyway, way off topic. Now I went off on a rant, didn't I? Sorry. Anyway, it's 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm up. My hand's killing me. And it's the day before Christmas here in the States or anywhere in the world to celebrate. Merry Christmas to all you people. Happy Hanukkah. And I saw that the Jewish people are doing their Hanukkah thing. And you know what? Have some fun with family and friends. Go out there, have a good time. Happy holidays, and hope everybody gets to spend some time with family and friends. And with that, we'll say goodbye. I'm not going to use my right hand because it's broken. And take care. Happy scrumming. See ya. Bye.